Good afternoon. It's time for the Iman Report. It is Sunday, March 28th, and today we are previewing the last division as we get ready for baseball season. The last but not the best division of them all, the NL West. We are previewing the NL West today. And guess what? Thursday, it's time to play ball! So let's preview the NL West. And of course, I'm going to start with the team I think is going to finish worse to first. Team I think is going to finish last, the Colorado Rockies. Colorado looking to tank this year. Colorado getting ready to rebuild. They've already traded away Nolan Arenado to the St. Louis Cardinals. And they've got a couple players that could yield some big returns if Colorado decides to go full fire sale at the trade deadline. There's Trevor Story. Trevor Story is always good at hitting home runs. The question mark is, can Trevor Story's power be any better elsewhere? But he could be, a Yankee or other places where Trevor Story could pull hit. Another guy that could be traded at the trade deadline, German Marquez. Marquez, who's become the ace of the Colorado Rockies rotation. But there's certainly going to be a lot of question marks with this team. But you're going to see a lot of youngsters this year. Ryan McMahon, Raimel Tapia. You've got Charlie. And I think Colorado would love to get rid of Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon certainly, though his contract is a bit atrocious to get moved. You got C.J. Cron. Cron could be a guy that could be flipped. Sam Hilliard. Josh Fuentes, the new third baseman replacing Nolan Arenado. And then you got Elias Diaz. And then your bench will be Connor Joe, Chris Owings, Dom Nunez, Garrett Hampson, Jonathan Daza. Starting rotation, that 5 spots up for bids. Got German Marquez as your 1. You've got Antonio Sanzatella now as your 2. Antonio Sanzatella, John Gray, Austin Gomber, Brandon Rogers on the injured list. Got Kyle Freeland, who's now on the injured list with a strained shoulder. You got Peter Lambert, Scott Oberg, who's coming out of the bullpen. So certainly they're going to have to be more reliant on openers. Possibly see what they've got in the minor leagues. You could see Chichi Gonzalez probably fill in as a 5. You've got Antonio Santos. They could give Lucas Gilbreth, but he's more of a middle innings guy. He might be more of a long reliever. You've got Derek Rodriguez, who could be on the back end. But I think they'd probably go with Antonio Santos to start the year. Or they could go with or Colorado could have to go with a bullpen game every 5th game with probably like a guy like Michael Givens or, maybe not Michael Givens, but Yairo Diaz or Carlos Estevez could be a guy that could possibly be used as an opener. So Colorado already being hit with the injury bug. You've got Ian Desmond, who's decided to opt out of the 2021 season. But I don't think Colorado is going to win a lot of games. They are tanking this year. At best, 70 wins. Worst, they could be 58, 55 wins at worst. But I do think Trevor Story will not be on the roster at the trade deadline. I don't think there could be a really good chance German Marquez gets traded. This is probably a team that's going to lose 100 games this year. Last place. I'm going to say 62 and 100. They lose 100 games. Colorado embraces the tank this year. In 4th place, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona, another team that is in a middle of a rebuild going on. And certainly this is a year where Madison Bumgarner wants to forget about the horrors of last season. Bumgarner was hurt. His ERA was bad. Mad Bum had a really bad year. But there's a lot of young, fresh faces for the Diamondbacks this year. You've got Pavin Smith in the outfield. You've got Josh Rojas in the infield. Carson Kelly. Christian Walker. And, of course, you got your veterans in Ketel Marte, David Peralta, Eduardo Escobar. But nothing that exciting. And then in the bench, you got Stephen Vogt, Asdrubal Cabrera, Tim Locastro. Rotation, of course, you got Madison Bumgarner, who is looking to rebound from a bad year. They bring in Merrill Kelly, who comes in from Korea, Caleb Smith, Tyler Widener, and rounding out your rotation is Luke Weaver. Bullpen is probably a place where you're going to see a lot of players who could get flipped. You got Joakim Soria as your closer, Stefan Crichton being your setup man. You got Kevin Ginkel, Taylor Clark, Chris Davinsky, Yohan Lopez, J.B. Bukauskas, and Alex Young. And then pitchers on the injured list, Tyler Clippard and Zach Gallen. We could see Gallen later on this year for Arizona. And you could see Stuart Fairchild up with the Diamondbacks at some point this year. And then Corbin Martin is a guy to watch in AAA. I think Corbin Martin could be a guy that will be interesting to watch. You've got Riley Smith who could be up. You've got John Duplanter. So they've definitely got some players to watch out for in Reno this year for the Diamondbacks, but it's still going to be a long year. I think they are another team where I think their ceiling is going to be 70 wins. Floor could be 55. I think they'll win somewhere around 65, 66 games this year. Arizona, another team that is trending in a rebuild situation. Third place, the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants, a team that is starting to complete their rebuild. They've certainly got a lot of young guys to watch in the farm this year who could be up with the Giants later this year. And you got a lot of veterans, a lot of the World Series players that are nearing the end of their contracts. So this is a San Francisco Giants team that is in transition. But this is also a Giants team that could be trending up. That's likely going to be trending up this year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but I do think 500 is where the Giants could end up. This is a team that, as I said, I think the Giants will be trending up this year. Don't be surprised if they look for controllable players at the trade deadline. But you bring back Alex Dickerson, who can hit a bomb or two. You've got Tommy La Stella, Mike Yastrzemski, Donovan Solano, going to be your full-time second baseman this year. Mauricio Dubon, he's got some pop in his bat. You've got Brandon Crawford, who's likely in his next to last in his penultimate year. The final year of Brandon Belt, maybe the final year of Buster Posey, depending on how. And this is what's going to be good for Joey Bart. He finally gets to go down and marinate this year in AAA. You've got Longoria possibly coming off the bench this year. You've got Wilmer Flores, who's always good off the bench. Austin Slater, your fourth outfielder. Darren Ruff, another guy that brings you a little bit of pop off the bench. Rotation's okay. You've got Kevin Gossman. Johnny Cueto, a guy that could be pitching his last year with the Giants. They do have a club option next year for Cueto, and if he has a stinker of a year, he could certainly be non-tendered. You got Logan Webb, who's pitched really well in spring training. Anthony DeSclafani as your 4, and your 5 is Aaron Sanchez, who is looking to rebound from a bad year. And then in the bullpen, you got Nick Tropeano, who could be your long innings guy. Wandy Peralta, Jose Alvarez, Jarlin Garcia, Matt Whistler, Tyler Rogers, the submariner Tyler Rogers, Reyes Maranta, and Jake McGee, 2 guys that are likely going to compete for the closer job. And it looks like, and of course, you got Alex Wood, who could round out the back end of the rotation. Tyler Beatty at some point will start rehabbing later this year and coming back from Tommy John. But in the minors, you've got, of course, Joey Bart, who will probably be back up with the Giants at some point. Hopefully with a little more pop in his bat. But certainly Joey Bart is a guy that is going to look a lot better after getting a full year of AAA. Chadwick Tromp, your backup in AAA. And then Arismendi Alcantara. And they certainly got some guys in AAA that in the outfield. Marco Luciano, a guy to watch in Single A this year. Will Wilson. And then this is probably last gasp for Steven Duggar. Duggar, in his last year of options, it is prove it time for Steven Duggar. Helio Ramos, another guy that could be up in AAA this year. He will start the year in Sacramento. And then pitching-wise, you've got Connor Menez. You've got Scott Kazmir, another guy that could pitch out of the bullpen if needed. But Connor Menez is a guy to watch. You've got Ashton Goudeau. And if all things go right, you could have Sean Jelly. If Jelly could get it all together in Double-A this year, Sean Jelly certainly a guy to watch in Double-A. And then Caleb Barger in the Triple-A. Caleb Barger going to start the year in Triple-A. Barriger definitely did well as an opener. And I think Barger will be back up with the team at some point. Sam Selman probably going to close. You could see Caleb Barger as the closer in Sacramento this year. But for San Francisco, this is a team that I think at best will probably be around 81 wins. Floor closer to 72 wins, 71 wins. But I think the Giants are going to be around 500 this year. They're going to finish a solid 3rd place. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they do look like a team that's going to be trending up going into next year. 2nd place, the San Diego Padres. Boy, did the Padres upgrade this offseason. This is definitely playoffs or bust for the Rockies this year. Playoffs or bust for the Friars this year. You do have Trent Grisham, Fernando Tatis, who got that monster extension, Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, Tommy Phams, Will Myers, Jake Cronenworth, and Victor Caratini. And then you look at the rotation, though. This is a lethal rotation. Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove, Chris Paddock. And then Adrian Morajan looking to make an impression this year. You got Drew Pomeranz trying to close this year. You've got Emilio Pagan. You've got Mark Melancon, Keone Kela. And they still could get even better as there's more guys in AAA nearing their major league debut. You've got Michael Baez. You've got Anderson Espinoza, maybe a Mackenzie Gore. So this Padres team is stacked and deep. I don't know if they've got enough firepower to overtake the Dodgers, but man, those Dodgers and Padres games this year are going to be exciting. But I do think the Padres will be a wild card team this year. Their ceiling's going to be around 95 wins. Their floor, 85. I've got about 90 wins this year. They are going to be in the wild card in San Diego this year. And last but not least, the reign of terror will continue for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have pretty much become the team of the decade in the NL West. And of course, the Dodgers own the deepest AAA team. You got Mookie, you've got Seager, Turner, Bellinger, Smith, Muncy, Pollock, Lux. That is a very stacked lineup. You've got Barnes coming off the bench, Edwin Rios, Chris Taylor, Matt Beatty. And then probably one of the top rotations in Major League Baseball. You've got Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias. And likely your number 5 is going to be May. Dustin May, your 5. With David Price likely pitching out of the bullpen. You've got Jimmy Nelson coming out of the bullpen. Blake Treinen, Kenley Jansen. And this team could even get better because you got Caleb Ferguson on the injured list. Tommy Canley, Joe Kelly. So it will be a fun year, of course, for the Dodgers. They got Kelbert Ruiz, who could be up with the Dodgers at some point. And then maybe Andre Jackson, who could be up with the Dodgers. Josiah Gray. So there are certain, especially in a year where this could be the last year of... Yeah, this could really be the last year of Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw's getting up there in years. Kershaw's got his ring. So retirement could be on the table for Clayton Kershaw soon. But they've got a deep farm. They are a stacked team. They're going to win at least, they're going to win close to 100. 110 is their ceiling. 95 is their floor. 100 wins for the Dodgers. Dodgers are going to continue their reign of terror. And until they are proven to be beat, I just don't see anybody stopping the Dodgers at this point. But enjoy baseball this year. This is going to be a fun year of baseball. Sadly, though, we've got the CBA coming up after this year. And honestly, after this year, there is a real possibility of a lockout coming or some sort of work stoppage. With all the rule changes that, unfortunately, Rob Manfred has imposed in Major League Baseball. So that is... Rob Manfred's definitely ruffled some feathers. So there could be... So a lockout is looking real possible for Major League Baseball at this point. And we'll see which side blinks. But Manfred... God knows how I do not like Rob Manfred. He's not a great commissioner. He might be worse than Gary Bettman, and that is saying something right there. But enjoy baseball this year. Have fun. And the good part is, I think we are going to get more fans back in the ballpark. Get vaccinated so we can continue to increase the capacity. Enjoy your week. We will be back soon.